I'm gonna be honest, it's really weird to do an intro. Like, it's very hard to come up with one because every single time I've done it, I sound like a robot. And I try and do it like in a normal way, like, hey guys, well, how's it going, you know? But then I just sound too much like Slat. And I'm like, do I really want to go in? So here's my intro. That's my intro. Welcome back to Real Talk, okay? So today's title question is, there's something I want, but I'm not sure I'm willing to spend the money. Now, ironically, this question's answer is more questions. So whenever I find something that I really want, but I'm not willing to spend the money, or I don't really want to spend the money, I always ask myself these three questions. Is it important or vital? Am I truly interested in this thing? And do I need it right this instant, right now? So let's just break down these questions. Let's just break down what they're meant to do and things like that, because otherwise this answer would be very short. So the first one, is it important / vital? Now this one just fully limits your entire scope of what you're going to buy. It basically limits it down to like food, water, medication, things like that. It's just bare minimum, you know. It, like, of course it depends on what every single person, what is important / vital in their life, but to me it's either food, water, or medicine. Doesn't go too hard, you know. That it just limits your scope. It doesn't allow any distractions, any things like that. So that's the first question anyway. The second question, am I truly interested in this thing? Now this one kind of limits it into a hobby of sorts. So I usually find I ask this question the most when I'm buying stuff for a hobby. So for example, my music, my vinyl collection. Although I've only just started, I still am very stingy with my money on when it comes to vinyls, especially how expensive they are. So every now and then I have to ask myself if I'm truly interested in this vinyl that I'm looking at, and you know, whatever else. But it can also be going towards like miniatures. I know miniatures are expensive. Your cars, like if you want to modify your car, if you're interested in like Lego as well, things like that. It just helps you like question whether or not you're gonna really spend time with this thing you're buying. You know, I feel like that's another very self-explanatory question. But the third and final one is, do I need it right now? And this question is just to fully ask yourself, like to step back and ask yourself, do I really need it? And this question combats the very trendy, advertisement heavy environment that nowadays, like, you know, you're on your phone, you're scrolling through Instagram, you're looking on like through YouTube, and you get an ad for, like, let's say clothes that you think look really nice. You're like, oh, I really want to get that t-shirt or those pants, they look really cool. So you go on the website, you go and look in, you're like, oh man, do I really need this right now though? Do I really need to spend my money on clothes when I already have clothes? Things like that. It just helps to just fully like stop yourself from impulse buying, because every now and then I have like succumbed to impulse buying, but these questions have helped me a lot. Like, for example, when I was talking about my vinyl collection, I went to my local JB Hi-Fi, and this one has a massive vinyl collection. Like, some of the stuff here is like, there's so many vinyls. And I went in there and I saw MF Doom's Food album, the 50th anniversary one as well. And I was like, wow, I really love this album. I really want to get it, but do I need it right now? And I decided not to get it then, because I didn't exactly have the money for it. I put all my monies into savings, and I think I only had like $100 in there for gas. So I just decided, nope, I'm not going to get it. I will save it for another time. And I will say, like, a couple weeks later, I did get it. It's now sitting in my little collection of 4 vinyls, and it's there. It's sitting all pretty with its beautiful cover. But sometimes you just need to step back and ask yourself if you truly want it. And I think that's probably the best way to stop yourself from buying things, random things in general. Same in the supermarket. Like if you're in the supermarket and you have your list of things that you want to buy, like a grocery list, and then you suddenly spot like a chocolate bar, and you're like, oh, I think I might get that, but do you really need it? Do you really need it right now? I don't think you do. You just spent like, I don't know, $200 on groceries. No, not even 200, maybe $300 on groceries. So, I mean, yeah, that's my experience anyway. Like, there's a lot of money goes into plenty of things, and sometimes it's just better to ask yourself these questions. Now the next question we have here is, what makes you cry in a movie? Now, right off the bat, I'm not really a movie person. I've not watched a lot of movies, and most of the movies that I have watched are kid animated films from when I was young. You know, like Shrek, Despicable Me, just like those type of movies anyway. But I do remember multiple movies that have made me cry. But if I had to truly pick one movie that made me cry, it would be WALL-E. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm just gonna glaze it for a little bit. It is the best movie, kids movie, I should say, not best movie ever. The best kids movie I've ever watched in my life. It already has some really beautiful scenes, like there's some eye-catching moments in there, but it also has a really nice developing story and character development as well. So over time, the more I've watched it, the more I've come to like realize all these really intricate details in this movie, and I've come to love it even more. So I consider this movie to be the best one of the best movies of all time. But anyway, I remember crying at the end of WALL-E when I don't think we need to care about spoilers here. I'm pretty sure everyone's seen WALL-E. But it's just basically when the ship lands back on Earth and then everyone's rushing out, but then Eve has WALL-E, and WALL-E's like pretty much dead basically, but he's just a husk of himself after what happened on the ship. So Eve just takes him back to his little wee shack and then tries to find parts to fix him up, but then he gets all fixed, but it isn't WALL-E. And that part, I think it was that part that made me cry, or the part leading up to it, because the entire movie was about this robot who was just being himself, exploring the world, and then when he gets repaired and like, you know, factory reset essentially, he just isn't himself. He loses every single character trait. So I just think it's just a very beautiful movie overall. I think it's one of the most emotional scenes. Not really most emotional, but it's definitely one of the emotional scenes ever, especially in a kids movie, surprisingly. So, but to truly answer this question, what makes me cry in a movie, I truly don't know. I'm gonna be honest. I truly do not know. It definitely does depend on multiple factors, but I just can't pinpoint them because, as I said before, I'm not a movie guru, and I just don't really watch a lot. So that's about it. Now, the final question of this video. How do I find a purpose? This is definitely one of the hardest questions I've answered to this day, due to how open-ended it is. Like, I spent probably 8 hours at work alone thinking about this question, because it's just that open-ended. Like, it could mean anything. It could be, like, I'm not going to go into in detail, but I have tried my best to, like cram it all into one singular, like, area to focus on, just to make it a bit more easier to answer the question, but also to make it a bit more, I guess, accessible to people as well. So I personally think that purpose can be anything. It can be from doing what you are really interested in, like, you know, a hobby, like a sport, things like that, or it could be working harder at your job to to have a better life in general, or it could also just be being the best version of yourself. So if you do want to find a purpose, there's so many routes you can go, but I find the most simple one is to just set goals. It's just that easy. Like, they can be anything. It doesn't necessarily need to be a big life goal. It can also be those everyday tasks, because these goals will just point you towards a location of, like, something to do, you know. So for example, I might set a goal to run 5 kilometers today. Well then, sure, that's what I've got to do today, or things like that. But of course, with goals, it's very easy. The best part is that you can take your time with it. You don't need to make it all done in one day, and 1 month, and 1 year. It just can be simple. It can just be something you're working on slowly. You just don't. There's like no time limit really on this. But the real question is how do you make a goal? Well, I'm gonna be honest. The best way to find goals, to find inspiration for goals anyway, is to just go outside. As fun as it may be, as hard as it may be for some people, like that's probably what I found that works best, just going outside, because it just gives you opportunities to find inspiration for those goals, for goals that you may come up with. Now, for example, at my work, there's this one guy. He's very he's very much an extrovert, but he sings a lot and he dances a lot at work, like during, not really, but like, you know, having those little goof off moments. And he inspired me to like start learning how to dance and learning how to sing better. And even though I've never danced a day in my life, I don't think those just dance lessons count, you know. I don't, you know, like a proper dance anyway. But even though I've never danced a day in my life, and even though I have quite a very monotone singing voice, I'm still spending time every now and then to just learn a couple dance moves, to learn a wee bit of a routine. And then also, I've just been singing along with my playlist in the car while I'm driving. And that's just what I found works. It's just setting a goal and doing something that you're interested in. It does help you give your life a purpose, because it just gives you something to work on. But if we do dive into life's purpose now, that's a whole nother can of worms that I don't really want to dive into, because that's way out of my league in terms of like answering. I don't think I've experienced life enough to answer what life's purpose is. It's a very big debate. It could be, I might just save it for another time, maybe another video, something like that. You know what, maybe, yeah, I'll just save it for another video. I'll just leave it at that. No promises though. But yeah, that's about it really. I think that's all I have in terms of this video. Sorry for not uploading last week. I kind of got tired. I had a lot of stuff going on that week, so I just didn't upload. I'll try and upload next week as well, and keep on going and keep on pushing onward, because I quite enjoy this, even though these are very low quality edited videos. I still quite enjoy it. I still enjoy my time doing these things, so thank you so much for showing your support as well. Now, if you do have any burning questions or want to ask for advice or anything like that, just email me at xshibex.realtalk@gmail.com. It's that simple. If you do have something that's interesting, or, you know, just anything like that, just email me. You have free reign. You can put whatever you want there. Like, someone asked me what my favorite sex position was. Think I'm gonna answer that on here? Hell no. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys all next week.